Chetan Bhagat needs no introduction. But I love his work so much, and so do about 120 million people who bought his books, that it behooves or bears repetition as to who he is. Chetan is, as you can imagine, a very well-known novelist and writer. He is also India's all-time best-selling author, which is saying a lot. Start with a general question about India, Chetan. What is, you have written about India, 4 best-selling novels, movies, and movies.
Is that an applause thing like program?
It's not,
can you do it every 2? But after I finish saying.
Exactly. But I think it's not canned applause like in sitcoms, it's the session next door.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the voice is carried. So let's pretend it's for you.
Every breath.
But I'm sure you get your own applause here, and they'll hear that. So it'll be one long thundering ecstasy of applause, as it were.
Sorry.
But Chetan, you are very much quintessentially an Indian writer, both in terms of fiction as well as your non-fiction. In terms of what your perception of India today is, how would you characterize that perception?
Okay. Yeah, I, like many people here, I grew up in India, and then in my banking job, I lived in Hong Kong, as an expat, as many of you are staying here, for a good 12 years. And then I went back to India. So in some ways, and I think it happens to all Indians when they leave India for the first time, they see a world outside, which is so developed and so advanced and affluent and rule-bound in some ways. And then you look at India differently after you kind of lived abroad. So I think my vision of India, the way I see, is part NRI in some ways and part very Indian, because I am back there now. And I also,
for those who don't know that term, NRI means non-resident.
The gist of where I am today is a society which is changing due to a lot of global influence, and that's been written about. But what is not being understood, it's a society which has somewhat lost its core values. It doesn't have a good sense of values, what it wants to be, and that is leading to a lot of issues. For example, historically, corruption has been okay. It's a very corrupt place. I'm not saying it judgmentally, it just is. From the lowest traffic cop to perhaps even the highest political office, people are trying to get whatever they can, and now I think it's realizing that this cannot work, for example. So while we want these agitations going on how we should have better laws, and we should have better laws, and I'm supporting that. Fundamentally, people are not sure that whether they should change their value systems. So, 2 of the things which exist in the West, or at least they're advanced.
Can you hold that thought before you conclude? You said 2 interesting things. You said all interesting things. There's 2 points I'd like to just press you on. One, you talked about corruption, basically, and then you talked about people sort of starting to sort of change their value system. Let me just sort of be contrarian for a second and ask you, what's wrong with corruption?
Yeah.
In the sense, I'm not defending it.
It's like a philosophical kind of reasoning.
Right. If it greases the gears, if you will, of the system and make things happen, what's wrong with it? Beyond the moral aspect of it.
Yes, so I have thought about it. It's funny because it's the first time I've been asked like this, but I have thought about it. So what if you're corrupt? So what? It's like in the jungle, everybody steals from everybody, right? Anybody, if the strong animal can grab the weak animal, and it's okay, that's the law of the jungle. So corruption is in some ways kind of like that. Whoever has the power can milk whatever he can or she can from that power. So if you ignore the moral aspect that we have to be good, forget that. What is wrong with it? See, I feel like, I always give this example to young people when they ask me. The young people ask me like, so what if I'm corrupt? If you have let's say 5 kids who get out of college and let's say come to Dubai, and they come to Mumbai and they share a flat and they're working there. Now if one boy steals the other guy's wallet, the other guy steals the third guy's laptop, 4th guy, they keep stealing from each other. Can that household run? You can't have that household run. So whether it's 5 people or 5 million people or 100 1.2 billion people. You just can't have a society where it's okay to gain at the expense of others. You know, it's okay. I'm so sorry. Shut up, CV.
That's our hidden part.
That's my, yeah, some voices is still
not
she's like trying to answer the question. And, you know, so it's okay. The best is if you do something which is good for you, good for society. It's still okay if you do something that's selfish for you, but neutral for society. But it's bad if it's good for you and bad for society. If everybody dumps their garbage on the street, then your home may be clean, but it's not the way society can function. So, for that reason, if India has to take the next leap ahead in terms of wealth, affluence, you can keep having investment bankers projecting our GDP growth rates and all the FPI. None of them is going to matter. If there is a corrupt society, it cannot grow beyond a point. Only a few people benefit, and majority doesn't benefit. So when you do a sum total of all, the growth just won't be there. So it will stall, it will stagnate, it will lead to huge inflation, it will lead to these things which are actually looking to happen anyway. So we must fix corruption from a very selfish, business-like reasons also. Not just because, hey, we want to be good people. That's separate.